everybody. This is Tim Green with Rattle Magazine. Welcome to another episode of Poets Respond Live. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you're having a nice Sunday. Before we begin, I should say that Rattle is a publication of the Rattle Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit working to promote the practice of poetry. We've been in continuous publication since 1995 and are unaffiliated with any other organization. If you like poetry as much as we do, please click the like button and share and all that good stuff. That really helps. And also, this is an open mic show mostly. And so what we will do is first email your poem to me if you haven't submitted it. If you submitted it, I can pull it up on Submittable. But if you didn't submit it yet, you can email it to me at openmic@rattle.com. That's openmic@rattle.com. And then give me a call, 818-850-7727. That's 818-850-7727. Let it ring a few times, then hang up. I'll just call you back when the time's right. We don't have any call screeners here, so that's the way it works best. And if you prefer, and we prefer, it's always nice to see you in the morning, use Skype. The Skype ID here is Rattle Poetry, all one word, and just send me a quick chat message over Skype, and I'll call you back in the same way. I think you see a little bit of my back of my computer screen there. Let's see. That's a little better. So let's get started. Now, today's poet, who we published, is over here. This is Martha Greenwald, and it's just a really the poem where idea meets execution. I think it's sort of a fun idea to play with, and then where she goes with it is just amazing. So let's call up Martha Greenwald first. We'll talk to today's poet, Martha. Her poem was New Year's Magic, 120% N19 Novastar mask offer. So let's call it Martha and see if we can get connected here. There she comes. Hey, Martha, I can hear you. Can't see you quite yet, but you're probably coming in. There you are.
Here I am.
Hello, good to see you. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us on Poets Respond Live and sharing this poem.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for putting the poem up.
Yeah, definitely my pleasure. I was just saying, it's a poem where I think the idea meets execution in such a way. It's a fun idea to play with, and then you went so many cool places. There's so many layers to this poem, actually. It's funny sometimes, and then it starts to feel endearing too in the middle of it in a really interesting way. And there's something about both, the offer and the humans experiencing it. I mean, there's just so much to it. It's a really layered poem. Do you want to explain a little bit where it came from? Sure.
Well, I think it comes from several different news stories and other places in my life, not just one news story. The stories about that we should wear 2 masks, but also all the stories that were sort of appearing in last April and May about all the strange dreams people were having during the pandemic. That story. And then more recently, all the warnings about fake vaccines and fake COVID testing. There's been a lot of that in Kentucky. And then also all the clickbait that we see all the time for, COVID gear and COVID purses and COVID vests. I've seen that one a lot. So that, and then also I've been fascinated by the language of phishing and scams for a while. So sometimes I would print out letters and save different phrases that I thought were interesting. And then also for about 6 years, not that long ago, I taught college level ESL writing. And my students would often make mistakes that, as their teacher, I would have to correct them. But then as a poet, I would think that's so good. So I was always interested in the ways that, if they used Google Translate when they weren't supposed to, or just, by virtue of usage errors, that I didn't really want to correct them. So although I didn't use any of that in the poem, I think I missed that a lot and missed them. And it seemed to all fit together.
Yeah, one of the fascinating things about the language in those scam emails especially is I've read it's done intentionally, actually, to sort of filter out people who are worth a second level. If you don't notice that the grammar is sort of jumbled, you're more likely to fall for the scam. And so it's sort of part of the shtick too, actually intentionally added, which is always interesting as well. Yeah, yeah, and the COVID, there's so many things, so many scams like that. In our community, we had someone had set up a fake tent for COVID screening and was like doing swabs of people and taking their money, and it was just someone with Q-tips. And there had to be a police report about, don't go here for testing because it was completely fake. And if you did, go for a real test because that was fake. It was kind of amazing that the ingenuity of some people is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and where are you calling from? Are you in Nebraska or are you? Oh, you're in Kentucky.
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah. And
but I'm from New Jersey, actually. So
where did the image? Because what I love about this poem too is that image of the person at the airport itself. Like, how did that come to you? Was that in an actual email, or was that sort of your creative juices rolling with it?
Other people have asked me that in the past couple of days who I've shown it to, and I had to really think hard about that. And I realized that it goes back to I lived in Ames, Iowa for 2 years. I was a Hoogery Fellow at Iowa State a long time ago. And I think that living in Iowa still enters my consciousness a lot of the times, just when I don't even realize it. So I did get a fish email that referred to the U.S. Airport Authority, but it was in a different state, and it just kind of gelled that way.
Yeah, well, that's the descriptions of the airport there. I don't know. There's something it's really touching about it at the same time as it's funny in other ways and sad in other ways too. Well, do you want to go ahead and read it again for everybody?
Sure.
In the audience? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay. New Year's Magic, 120% N19 Nova Star mask offer. Dear gentle American friend, not too much long ago, I was a beloved prince. But now I am humbled, a kind doctor, diplomatic, and I've tried to reach you for months to convince U.S. Airport Authority that I can cure this pandemic. For I possess stockpiles of uncontaminated N19 masks, Nova Stars, triple ply, valved, certified, gold-plated, but my crates remain at U.S. Airport Authority, Nebraska, requiring legal backup papers to be verified, then dated. I cannot deliver any freight till international permit fees are paid, which levied $300 U.S., which is a small cost given our supreme copper-infused cloth of magic quality, woven by grieving women, their kidnapped daughters lost. God asks, who will help? Orphanages in disrepair await. Once the warehouse pallets go released, I'll travel to heal children's health, fill their sad stomachs and empty plates, grip and melancholia prevented, thanks to a modest deal which you are here offered. Pray listen, dearest friend, to a secret medical secret. Nova Stars banish the worst and wildest virus dreams. 3 for $50. All nightmares end. God comprehends. We weary of our mother's ghosts, our father's devils, dead lovers, and your sister stillborn who calls to us. However, Nova Star masks will usher such spirits away, respectfully, so you may waken, mourn, then proceed through today, protected by safe fabric fibers which filter 100% bad thoughts. Sown seams expel disease when you exhale, but you'll inhale clean air and memories. Somewhere at the back of your tired head, songs that tease and names you can never remember return like miracles. Thus, N19s, antibacterial, repel most airborne particles, which is why God asked me to share his nanotechnology with good people. But first, I must pay legal backup papers, or I'll sicken again in prison, where life is dangerous lonely. While I wait, I live in fields beside U.S. Nebraska Airport. But do not worry. In the terminal atrium, I found a yellow baby blanket that still smells of baby. It brings comfort. Runway C is peaceful by night, At dawn, tall grass glows greener than anyone might imagine, the color of peridot, which are mined in my country. I could send you gems with N19 masks if Honorable Ambassador Z lifts embargoes, if I receive cash funds via UN World Bank MoneyGram. If you hurry payments, which will be promptly blessed, your dark dreams will thank you, your germs, your breath, with immediately effect. Once you confirm this message, I'll enter the warehouse again with love and happiness. Best regards, Honorable Dr. Francois Smith.
Excellent. That was Martha Greenwald reading today's poem on Rattle.com, New Year's Magic, 120% N19 Novastar mask offer. Martha, thanks so much for sharing that poem again, and thanks for joining us on Poetry Spawn Live.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yep, bye. Okay, yeah, that was Martha Greenwald. Now, let me see. What do we have for today? Yeah, only a few people are lined up so far, so it might be another shortish show. Let me see what we have. So if we go back into the archives, January 4th, 2015, which is now 5 years ago. We've been doing Poetry Spawn for over 5 years. This is a sad story that Chira Hammonds was writing about. This was a story. It's still up here on Fox News, I guess. I'll show it on the screen. This is this Idaho woman. It's a little too big for you to read, but Idaho woman accidentally shot and killed by 2-year-old in Walmart. And an Idaho nuclear research scientist who had taken her young relatives to Walmart to spend their holiday gift cards was killed Tuesday when her 2-year-old son pulled a loaded pistol from her purse and shot her. And just a heartbreaking story from back in 2015. And it became a beautiful poem that by Chira Hammonds. And let's give this a listen for our blast from the past from 5 years ago, January 4th, 2015. Chira Hammonds with Sparrows.
Sparrows. The birds are always a surprise, the way they dart among the airy metal trusses and peer at the shoppers, tilting their heads with worry, as if we could reach them that high up. You can't help but wonder how they survive with everything packaged and put away, what door they came in through, or if they will make it back out. It's hard to think that the sparrows in the cereal aisle, waiting for a spill, could slowly starve. That the janitors will scoop their still warm bodies into bins quickly during empty nights when nobody sees. Really, this place is full of undoings that people don't usually notice. The things we put in our carts that used to be living. But more, too, the employees who wonder how to pay rent, the relationships quietly unraveling, couples not speaking, grandparents slowly leaving lonely houses, less and less at a time. The children already starting to undo their parents, getting farther and farther away from them in the aisles, some of them. And you can see that eventually they'll get out of reach completely. Still, the shot surprises us. The thought of it, an opening mouth that was just beginning to say no. Because this morning, like us, she might have watched the dark-eyed juncos scratching for seeds in the snow, bright and delighted. Because she awoke like us and dressed. Because she ate breakfast. And her life, like ours, was just as it had been every other day. Something from before that carries over with us. And something else always just about to begin.
And again, that was Chira Hammonds with Sparrows. And in her note here, she says, I was shocked when I heard that a 2-year-old boy had shot and killed his mother in a Walmart with her own concealed handgun. I kept thinking about what it would be like to carry that sort of thing for the child and for his father, for the manager that took the gun from the boy's hands, all the ripples something like this can have what the mother would have had time to see and feel. It's the sort of thing that, if you let yourself think about it too much, is enough to break your heart. And that was Chira Hammond's poem from Poet Respond 5 years ago, Sparrows. Now, let's see what you all have for us. We have Nivedita Karthik. We have Joseph Nolan. Angela Gardner. Let's call up Nivedita first. See how Nivedita is doing. Good morning, Nivedita. Can you hear me? Hello. How you doing today? Oh,
I'm doing good, Tim. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. Let me fix your camera here. There you go. Okay. Okay. So how you doing today, and what do you have for us?
I'm doing great, actually. I was really surprised when I heard about the COVID tent scam that you were talking about.
Yeah. There was like an alert, and I think it was on our phone actually that someone sent, like maybe in September or August. It was crazy that somebody would. I guess they had the whole medical, like they had like it made it look like real, and they took like $50 or $100 from everybody who showed up, and then were arrested when someone realized it was fake. But if you drive by and look at it, you just think, a sign that says that, and it looks like it's medical people, and yeah, it's amazing. And the risk too is that, like, they could get. They're handling people
from that. Exactly.
Yeah, it was a crazy story.
I'm surprised that, thus far in India, I haven't read any news stories like that. So I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah. Okay, but you have a photo of the week. I'll put it on screen for everybody to see. This is from Reuters again. And
yes,
this is, describe what we're seeing here.
So it's the Duomo in Milan during snowfall. And well, I've never been to Italy before, but then that picture sort of spoke to me.
Actually, I think let me cut you off. I have to find the right photo. I think we have a picture of demonstrators in Argentina.
It's I think third photo, if I'm not mistaken. There's about 10 or 12 photos that go on and on.
Okay.
So this is the right arrow. If you click, it just moves.
Yeah, I'll find it. So. You said it was snowfall?
The cathedral in Milan, the Duomo.
The Duomo. Oh, this is a beautiful photo. Okay, so I'll now show it for everybody here. This is the photo that Nivedita is talking about. Yes. That's a beautiful photo. It doesn't look real.
Indeed, it looks like one of those Christmas postcards of, like probably 10, 15 years back when everybody had those idyllic snow scenes that were like so much the rage. Mm-hmm. I've never been to Italy, but then I saw that picture and I was like, what would it be like to just sit at a cafe across from that in winter with like a nice hot cup of coffee and just stare at the snowflakes and hear, the Duomo bells tolling and things like that. So that's basically what I wrote about.
Excellent. Whispers of a Winter Moon. I have it ready, so go ahead whenever you are.
Thank you. Whispers of a Winter Morn. The cortado has long since cooled, sitting forgotten on a cozy wooden table, scattered with biscuit crumbs and white napkins, the foam now sadly limp and flat. The Duomo's bell tolls the hour, the repetitive chimes, oddly comforting, yet eerily disconcerting. Watching the clock hands excitedly leapfrog across the polished reflective glass, so out of tune with the beats of the heart, the morning draws to a close.
Excellent. Thanks so much for sharing that beautiful poem and beautiful picture, Nivedita. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always fun to share.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was Nivedita Karthik with Winter Moon. Now let's go to Joseph Nolan. Once again, let me show you the phone numbers. It's 818-850-7727. That's 818-850-7727. If you'd like to share a poem, just email it to openmic@rattle.com. And then call me up at that number, and I will call you back when the time is right. You just call up, let it ring a few times so that it appears in my call logs, and then I'll call you back during the show. Or you can Skype to Rattle Poetry, all one word. Now let's go to next in line was Joseph Nolan. And let's see, here we go. This is Joseph Nolan. He might have a Let's see what he has for us. Hey, Joseph. Let me pull you in. You weren't on yet. There you go. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I gotta fix your screen box. There you go. Okay. So what do you have for us today?
More war, please.
More war, please. That's what we all wanted for Christmas, right? But
whether we want it or not, we're going to get it.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. I don't even know. The thing is, I don't even know if you're talking about China or Iran, or who knows. More war, please.
We're starting our 20th year of war in Afghanistan. Yeah, here we are.
Okay, well,
never-ending wars.
Yeah, well, let me put it up on the PDF viewer really quick. There we go. Okay, we are good to go.
Okay. More war, please. War, war. Let's have some more. Another helping of war, please. A little war here, a little war there. Give us some more than we can bear. Fill up my plate with fear and hate. Tell me the enemy's at the gate. Please don't let him in, sir. It's clear from the way you're blinking that your brain, it must have stopped thinking. Our boys are coming home shrinking. Shrinking and sad, they drive their wives mad. Their houses are full of crying. Crying and crying from killing and dying. They cannot take any more. Here, here, another war's near, so they say and lie they nay. It's them we should go after. War, war, let's have some more. Another helping of war, please.
Excellent. That was More War, Please by Joseph W. Nolan. I always love the way you read, half singing the submissions. But what was the story? Did you say it was the 20th anniversary of the Afghanistan war? Is that...
Well, we are involved in these never-ending wars of empire, and unfortunately, when our boys come home, the suicide rate is far in excess of what the rate of death on the battlefield is.
Yeah.
We've got so much devastation to our own country, not to mention what we're doing over there for no good reason.
Yeah, sing it. Definitely, for sure. Well, thanks for sharing that, Joseph. Always good to see you and hear your work.
Thank you, Tim. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Yeah, it was Joseph P. Nolan with More War, Please. Let's call up Angela Gardner. For sure. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Angela. How you doing today?
Good. No video today.
Okay, no problemo. So what do you have for us? I think I have to pull it up. I think it's on the...
Yeah, it's. I wasn't sure what I was going to read, but then I thought I'll just read what I submitted, like what we can count on.
Okay, I got it right here. Is there anything you want to say about it before you read?
No, I guess I am going to say something. All these resolution lists, and I'm just sick of all the resolution lists, and it just goes on, and I always think I'm going to make one, or I do make one, and I never do what's on the resolution list. So, so I'm like, I'm kind of sick of seeing them this year, because what I learned in 2020 is you don't really know what's going to happen. So
yeah, that's for sure.
You think you just got to kind of live day by day, and just and there's things, though, we can count on in some ways. So that's what the poem is, what we can count on.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, let's hear it. Whenever you're ready, I have it up.
Okay. I don't want to see or make another resolutions list. A month into the new year, it will be broken goals or wishes. Nothing will be crossed off, and I will be back to eating donuts. The shifted numbers won't change what we can count on. Birds come back from a warm climate, and it snows on a mountain. The rain falls down when the sky seems bright and rays shine. Winds spread the spring seeds, but makes the leaves fall from trees. Tears will wet my face, anger will seethe, and I will feel my body's frailty. Love is found in forms that are boundless, like knowing the ending to a book. The clock hands won't cease. I will win or lose at my life, in which I'm misunderstood.
Excellent. That was What We Can Count On by Angela Gardner. Thanks so much, Angela. Always a pleasure to hear you read poems.
Well, thanks, Tim, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Oh, I didn't even say that to anybody. Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody out there watching. I kind of forgot. It feels like New Year's was like a while away, actually, to me, but...
Yeah, I was thinking about writing a poem about, at first about the New Year's Eve downtown in New York. It was just like the oddest New Year's Eve, like looking at downtown, like New York, and just not seeing anyone there. So it's been a crazy New Year, but it's good. It's 2021. So.
Yeah. It definitely. I think. I took the dog for a walk like I always do, right around midnight. And last year there were just parties everywhere in our town. And it was just totally silent like any other day, which is a good thing. But I think it made me sort of forget. If at that point it sort of stopped feeling like New Year's or something. But anyway, thanks so much for calling in, Angela. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Tim. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Let's see who is next. So we have just 2 people left so far. So if you'd like to call in, open mic at rattle.com, send the poem there, and Rattle Poetry over Skype, or the phone number 818-850-7727. We have Susan Goodman and Patricia Rockwood. And Patricia says she thinks she figured out Skype today. Let's try Patricia Rockwood and see if we can see her this time. So the phone's ringing for Patricia. Find her poem. Hey, Patricia, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, let me try to get my video on.
Yes, there you go. Here you come.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, it's working. Good to see you.
Okay, good. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, so what do you have for us today?
It's called Waiting, and it came out of, I very rarely have a poem just sort of spew from feelings, but this one did yesterday. And it just came out of a general sense of this limbo that I feel like we're all in.
Mm-hmm.
So here goes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'll put it on screen for everybody.
Okay. Waiting. In the world of memory, the dead live, pushing us out of sleep. We live in this half-life now, the dead all around us, a gray mist of souls, hundreds of thousands, asking where to go next, and we have no answer. They say, keep our children. They say, remember our names. They follow us, and their despair becomes our desolation. I wander from room to room, doing menial things, the laundry, the dishes, waiting, like standing in the middle of Grand Central, but it's empty, echoing, waiting for its people to return.
Excellent. That was a beautiful poem, Waiting, by Patricia Rockwood. Thanks so much for sharing that, Patricia. I'm glad you could call in and figure out Skype, and we can see you now.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, let's see who else we have. So, so we also have Susan Goodman, who will call in a minute. We have, I think 2 people wanted me to read their poems. Let me try to find those. Carlton Johnson has one. Always great poems by Carlton. Let me pull up his reference. So this is what Carlton's poem was about this week. This is what underwater volcanoes can teach us about Saturn's moon. Studying underwater volcanoes called hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean taught us that the hydrogen down there probably isn't a primary food source for life in this extreme environment. So that's interesting. And a picture of these oceanic vents. Astrobiologists study extreme environments on Earth to understand the conditions that sustain life on our planet. Understanding these fundamentals allow astrobiologists to look for similar conditions that could support extraterrestrial life on other planets. So it's talking about this study looking at hydrothermal vents and what the extremophiles that live down there. This is an expedition, it looks like, in the Gonave microplate, just south of Cuba. And so they found that hydrogen is not a food source. Very interesting. And let's see what Carlton had to say about that. This is his poem, Hot Under the Collar. Hot under the collar. I am just letting off some steam, as many microorganisms swelter here near my hot hydrothermals. This shelter is not hospitable for most, only extremophiles. I revile the heat. I spend time venting, spraying the cold Arctic-like water with enough heat to meld hydrogen. Gas jets from my large plumes bloom as if water lilies, just as I believe my cousins on Europa and Enceladus do as well. On my columns of stone, hot life finds a way to flourish, with nary a fish to be found. It is primordial here, back to the beginning we go. Perhaps, in a few more eons, something new, wondrous will emerge. Until then, I will keep venting. Excellent poem, personifying the vents under the ocean. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Carlton. And there's another poet that wanted me to read a poem. I'll find that. I'll dig that out in a minute. Make sure maybe I can do it now. But first we'll call up Susan Goodman and see what Susan has for us. So the phone's ringing for Susan Goodman. Hey, Susan, good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think I might hear myself in the background very faintly. Do you have the video still going or no?
No, I actually shut it off.
Okay, I think it's gone. Maybe it was just the echo of my own voice or something. So what do you have for us today? Susan, good to see you, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, this is my first time calling in. And I agree that the New Year's Eve seems like a long time away, but when it was here, it felt more to me than it ever has maybe in the past. And so this poem kind of came about not from one particular article, but just from all of the articles and the Facebook post and the Instagram things. And I was watching New Year's Eve shows and laughing and crying. But then it turned into anger, and there was so much anger against the year 2020, well-deserved, but it felt bad for me to go to bed with that anger in myself. And then I actually started feeling for the year 2020 and felt like maybe the year didn't deserve all of the anger. Maybe it wasn't the year, but the things that were in the year. So
yeah. Okay, well, let's hear it. I'll put it on screen for everybody.
Okay. I called it Good Riddance 2020. Good night, sweetheart. I can't make it to midnight, but in the darkness of the sky, please know it wasn't your fault. You did what you could with the authority granted. Still, we gifted you the blame. My pillow damp for you tonight. Good riddance, they said, and to you your death. The losses too great, the calamities too many, the anguish unbearable. Yet you are nothing but a pale. Nothing more, holding the happenings that upon us happened, and I hold you no grudge. You control not the things that you hold. I open the door to usher you out, look to the night. Welcome, New Year, but also sleep well, old year, my love. A sad farewell to you who tried.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's an interesting and moving way to look at it. I love that a pail as a metaphor. That was really good too. Thanks so much for sharing that. Susan Goodman with Good Riddance 2020. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, have a good day, and thanks. I'm glad you could call in.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, let me see who... Oh, yeah, so, who was this? This was Kinshuk Gupta, who from, it doesn't even say. Let me see. If I go, this is, yeah, so it's in India too. And it is late there. For Nivi, she calls in right before bed. And this is the story that Kinshuk was writing about. Let me kind of clear out all the pop-ups. Okay. Oh, I guess I can't show the story. I can show the headline. The story is "The Farmers Protest Truths and Half-Truths." With agitation continuing, finding a meeting ground for farmers and the government could be difficult. But then you have to subscribe for the story. So I can't really share the story. Let me see what Kinshuk Gupta said about it. This is the contributor note with this submission. I always think about how protests only affect the people who are protesting. More often than not, the so-called elite section is never bothered with these minor upheavals. I have been observing my parents for the past few weeks, and even though I wish to oppose them for this slouchy reaction, I fail to do anything more than journaling my resentment. This poem draws on this helplessness. So I wish I could find out what the farmers are protesting. Maybe I can find a different article. Let's see. Let's see. So here's an article from the Indian Express, which says, rains, water, logging cause inconvenience to farmers protesting at Delhi borders. Yeah, a lot of pop-ups here. But what are the farmers protesting? Well, that article didn't help. Anyway, let's read the poem, and maybe the poem will explain the situation. This is, but what is the matrix that God uses? Once again by Kinshuk Gupta. But what is the matrix that God uses to choose who becomes who? For I was born in a family with a stethoscope guarding our pedigree. I sit across my father, munch multigrain bread toasts, watch farmers sow seeds on the divider, and protest with placards. The rich revolt in a posh way. They tweet, or at the most discuss, that revolt is a ghost standing in the fog. That all you need is a headlight to rip it apart. Except this, they mint money. Or snatch bread. My father says this is how hunger incites a tiger to spring upon you. But let the hungry tiger stay hungry till he forgets to spring upon you. These soil saviors are rice grains infested with pests rotting in granaries. The most they can sacrifice for the economy's cogwheel is a kernel of wheat, which is different from grease or a tomb of coins. From behind their holed shirts peep a gnarled ladder of ribs. Father ends, their anger is the spill of untimely rain that spells bad news. He changes the channel where the analyst declares Sensic jumps 500 points. He rinses his fingers in a bowl reclining on a chair with cattle skins stretched to the backside, as their skin numbs by sleeping on tarmac slick with snow. A barren field extends between us, where their bodies heap to dissolve into the soil. And that was Kinshuk Gupta from India writing about farmers protesting. Beautiful poem. I love the images there. Thanks so much for sharing that. That was Kinshuk Gupta. And I wish maybe somebody in the chat windows knows what the story is and can summarize it really quick. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. Let's see. Okay, well, I think that is the show. Unless anybody else wants to call, give you... Oh, here's Kashyana Singh shared a link. Maybe this will work. Just to know what that's about, because I'm curious. And here, this is the link that Kashyana Singh shared in the Facebook chat window. Indian farmers protest spread. Many have burned their fields in defiance of anti-pollution laws. Some say that have worsened New Delhi's air as the capital deals with a third coronavirus wave. So they're protesting anti-pollution laws, which are, making it difficult, I assume, to clear the fields and things like that. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. To know a little bit more what it's about. Okay. I think that is the last caller or reader that we have. Let me double check, make sure we got everybody. Yeah. Okay, so it's time for the Saiku. And now my Saiku story for today, like to end on a Saiku for those who are new to the show. And the story that I liked this week, I really love this story. And it was here from Science Daily. And it's just really great news. This is a new class of antibiotics active against a wide range of bacteria. Dual-acting amino antibiotics block an essential pathway in bacteria and activate the adaptive immune response. And this is from the Worcester Institute. Scientists have discovered a new class of compounds that uniquely combine direct antibiotic killing of pan-drug-resistant bacterial pathogens with a simultaneous rapid immune response for combating antimicrobial resistance. And so basically it's a solution to drug-resistant bacteria. And I always felt like there's sort of, human beings are really good at slow-moving crises and solving those, and really bad at sort of shock crises. And because of the way we, the reward systems that we have, I guess, as a species. So I've never been too worried about drug-resistant bacteria, because I feel like we'll find solutions as the problem changes. And this is a solution here. So what they did was they engineered a compound to kill bacteria by making something that would kill bacteria. They looked through a whole database of compounds that might work. They found one that they were looking for, which would work if it could cross through bacterial membranes, and then they added they engineered a way to get it through the membrane. And then the cool thing, and it was hard, I couldn't read the actual article. It was paywalled in Nature, unfortunately. But it sounds like what happens is in that transport process, some of the transport section remains as this antibiotic is sort of injected into bacteria cells. And it's sort of, if you like think of like a bank robber who has the exploding, color on the money, so they're covered in paint as they're running out of the bank. And that's kind of what it does. So if any bacteria evolve to resist the antibiotic, the actual thing that's killing them in this medication, it's sort of painted for the immune system so that the immune system can target it and wipe off any remaining before it gets out and becomes a drug-resistant antibacterial, or drug-resistant strain, I should say. So it's a cool sort of two-pronged approach, and it solves the problem of bacteria mutating past our antibiotics. And so my little Saiku, a very short one today, and you kind of got to think about it a little bit. This is my Saiku for today. Resisting the resistant choice. Resisting the resistant choice. There you go. That is my Saiku today. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks to everybody for participating. As always, it's always a pleasure to share these poems and talk to the poets who wrote them. Now, for next week's guest on the Rattlecast, we're going to have Marjorie Lotfi. Her newest book is Refuge. She's also the founder of Open Door, a poetry workshop in Scotland that helps marginalized communities learn to write poetry, which is a wonderful program. I think there's poetry in prisons too, which is always something that we really appreciate. So really looking forward to talking to Marjorie Lotfi. That is Tuesday, January 5th, and the prompt for that episode was, let me pull it up. The prompt was, we used randomwordgenerator.com to select 3 random words: fear, staircase, passage. Use all 3 words in a poem, or use Random Word Generator to pick 3 words of your own. That's the prompt for this week. You can always find the prompts at rattle.com/rattlecast. So if you'd like to share a poem on Tuesday with Marjorie Lotfy, write it now and call in. And do note the special time. Marjorie's in Scotland, so that would be Tuesday, January 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, 8 p.m. in England, Scotland time. So we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.